Krissie, and my tail doll. I'm here to read you guys another one of my fan fictions. This one I actually wrote this year, so yay. It's called White Brew Tears. It's a cute little Sonic fan fiction. Heads up, it is a Shadow Amy fan fiction. I know a lot of people aren't all into that pairing, and that's cool. You can just click the back button on your computer, and I'll see you later when I read a fan fiction or something that you will interest you. As always, I will leave the link to the fan fiction where it's in the description. So let's go. Wipe Your Tears is the title again. Disclaimer: I am the coolest. This is a very appropriate disclaimer. Yes, it is. He agrees. Okay. Shadow Hedgehog was racing Sonic once again. He was trying to lose him by taking so many twists and turns, but Shadow was determined to beat him. Shadow thought about hitting the cocky Hedgehog with a Chaos Spear, but rejected the idea. Last time he did that, Sonic whined about it being unfair and blah blah blah. He tended to tune him out after a while. They took a turn and ran into the city. They were just about to pass Uncle Chuck's restaurant. Sonic sped up, gaining a few yards on the ultimate life form. Bam! Sonic's face impacted with Amy's familiar hammer. He peeled his face off Amy's Pico hammer. He spat out a tooth in his hand. Oh, look! The Tooth Fairy is gonna visit! Then he collapsed into the ground. Oh! Amy growled. Sonic, you idiot! Shadow stopped in front of the pink hedgehog. He looked down at his rival's unconscious form and crossed his arm. There goes this race. Is that what you've been doing all day? Amy asked, turning a glare his way. She was in a very agitated mood. Shadow knew that look. It was the angry, pouty look she made when Sonic didn't show up to their dates that she planned. Yes. Did Faker forget about one of your dates again, Rose? He nodded courtly. No, Amy stomped her foot again. Shadow noticed the water coming to her eyes. Sonic promised to hang out with his mother today, but the idiot forgot, and on Mother's Day, no less. Ah, Shadow nodded in understanding. Well, he can't spend time with her unconscious. Shut it, Shadow, Amy hissed. Shadow looked at her long and hard. He noticed the tears on the rim of her eyelids. What? Amy asked, standing straighter. Shadow staring at you for long periods of time was never a good sign. It usually meant he was planning to kill you. Shadow picked up Sonic and dragged him towards his uncle's restaurant. He strode into the diner and plopped Sonic into a bench. He took notice of how everyone took an instinctive step back. He smirked and approached the counter where Chuck stood. Amy came in shortly after. She stomped up the Shadow. She put her hands on her hips and glared at him. Shadow, you can't just drag unconscious people wherever you want, she chided. Amy, Uncle Chuck said in a low warning gasp. He knew Shadow had no problem hitting anyone who got on his bedside. He didn't want him to hurt her. Shadow turned to Charles. May I have a napkin? He asked courtly. Charles's brown eyes turned to him at the odd demand. When Shadow's glare became harsher, he grabbed a napkin out of the dispenser and handed it to him. Here you go, he said politely. Thank you. Shadow turned to Amy as he folded the napkin into a square. The pink hedgehog glared at him. You know, it's not nice to ignore people. Shadow leaned forward and grabbed Amy's face. His thumb was under her chin, forcing her to look upward while the rest of his fingers rested in her quills. Amy let out a surprised gasp as he took the folded napkin and wiped the tears from her eyes. He let her go when he was done with the task. Everyone's eyes were locked on the black hedgehog as he tossed the napkin into the trash and walked back to where Amy stood in shock. Why did you do that? She asked as she looked him straight in the eye. Your eyes were watery, Rose, she stated matter-of-factly. When Amy continued to stare at him dumbfoundedly, he rolled his eyes. It's difficult to engage you in conversation when you're crying, Rose. Shadow's wristwatch beeped, and he pressed a button on it. The commander's voice greeted him with a short message. Shadow the Hedgehog, report back to base. We have a mission for you. Pardon me, Rose, but I have to go. He gave her a nod before teleporting away. Okay, Amy murmured as she gave a dull nod. Charles leaned over the counter to examine the new scorch marks the black hedgehog left on his tile floor. And the end. That is the end of that little one-shot fan fiction. I did mean to write more, but I got lazy and forgot where I wanted to take it. So yeah, now it's just a one-shot. Enjoy. I will leave the link to the fanfiction in the description if you want to read it. Also, if you would like me to read any other fan fictions or just original work, I'm more than happy to. It's great practice for me. So yeah, you can leave a comment down below telling me that as well. I do not mind. Yes, and see you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Love you. Yes. Kisses and hugs.